Welcome to another podcast of Southern Dirt Motorsports. We'll be coming to you today from the Northfield Vineyard. The Northfield Vineyard is always, and still is, and always will be probably the primary sponsor of this podcast. Today I have two real special guests with me. I have Mike and Michael Luna, father and son, and anytime we can have a father and son with us, both of them has got a good racing history. Mike has won about everything that you can win in dirt track racing. Michael's on his way to being following in the same footsteps. He's a good, prominent, well-known racer. And just wanted to get the two of them together and share a little story of how they came to be. And I know a little bit about this myself, knowing Mike's uncle BK. BK and I were good friends, and I guess had a little bit of rivalry sometimes, but I guess that's where this story actually starts, back with BK Luna. Mike, if you will tell me a little bit about BK, and then I'll get Michael to catch us up to where he's at with his career.
Okay, Randall. BK, he was really always my hero. He raced, and that's what I lived for, really, was the races. And I just always wanted to do it. And as soon as I got old enough to race a go-kart, we started racing go-karts, and was very successful, and then started racing a car when I got 16, and raced up until about 2008, and we got Michael started in the go-kart, and then he went to a car too.
Now, how old was Michael when you put him in the first go-kart?
He was young, probably 11 or 12. How old? 8. He was young.
So you started his career out. He's been running in circles for a long time.
He really has.
So we hid that from my mom's mom and dad for a couple of years, if you remember.
Did they really not know, or just didn't want to hear about it?
I promise you they didn't know.
Okay.
Because they didn't have internet back then.
Okay, Michael, if you will, share with us now. We know sort of how you got started with your history here. You got a wonderful history, by the way. You got a wonderful dad. BK was a good friend of a lot of us. But start us off after you. Well, tell us about some of your accomplishments with the go-karts first.
I don't know that I had many. We would run third almost every week that we went, because you had Casey Atwood, who went on to run NASCAR, would win almost every week, and then Justin Ashburn would run second, he's won a lot of races at the fairgrounds, but we would be top 3 every time we raced. But I don't even know, we traveled, I think we went to only 2 tracks. We would get home from the races on Saturday, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, load the go-kart up the back of the truck, and then go to the fairgrounds and set all day on Sunday.
Okay, as you progressed through your go-kart racing days, what type stock car did you was your first race in, and where was it?
This is Baxter. We got a Ford Pinto, and I was 13 and way too young to be doing it, honestly, because I was scared to death for a couple of years. It took me a while to get going, to the point that I was starting to wonder if I was even going to be able to do this or not.
Well, sometimes that happens because of the type car we're driving. You'll think, maybe I'm not cut out to do this, but you get in a car that will work, and then you find all of a sudden, I can do this, I like doing this. That happened to me early in my career. I started doubting myself for a while, and then old Houston Montgomery put me in one of his cars, and I found out I drive his sucker.
So funny stories. We took BK bought a Pinto, like a pack car, for Baxter once he had it built, and I don't think it had walls around it yet, and I would not shut up. Let's go get that Pinto and let me go make circles. So we get there, went through all the work of loading it up. You probably remember this. And we unloaded. I chickened out. I told Grandpa, I was like, I don't want to do it. He took his belt off and he set his belt here. He said, we got 2 options. You can take a belt or go out there and go in circles. I worked too hard to bring this car here. So I went out there and put it around. And that red Pinto that BK had was the first thing I ever drove car-wise. And then we bought a Pinto off of Alan Walker. Is that right?
I think so.
So me and my best friend in high school, we stripped it, put it together, all equipment done the cage, and it's crazy how things work. We went 2 years riding, and something clicked.
Well, sometimes that's better for us. if you start out with first-class equipment, sometimes you can't drive as good as you could if you started with what I call junk. If you make junk work, then you get in a good car.
It helped. I mean,
you're better at it.
Yeah, the Pinto was hard to drive. We bought a Mustang, and I don't know that I got beaten that thing in '01. It was, everywhere we went, we won. And it was so much easier to drive than Pinto was. That Pinto was definitely harder to drive.
And I think you've probably experienced this too. The races you win are the ones that was the easiest to drive. If you have to fight the car, you can't get there. It's just, I think we've all experienced that. I know Michael there had a lot of success too, but he took a lot of lumps getting there too. He didn't win every time either. None of us did. In a career, we're going to lose more of them than we win. That makes us really what we are.
If that car is running out of shape, it takes a lot more horsepower. And then you're killing yourself when that thing's out of shape all the time. So you got a good handling car, it don't take near as much power.
That's one thing about the go-karts that it'll teach you is your steering wheel position. Like the less you have to turn it, the less speed you're scrubbing off.
And you're right.
To make circles. And then the Pinto and the Mustang's the same way. You know, you don't want to turn the steering wheel that much. And now you get up to the crate late model stuff, and they're the exact same way. The less you have to turn that steering wheel, the faster you're going to be. Like the Steelhead late models and supers, you can get out of shape a little bit and make it up down the straightaways to where the crate stuff, go-karts. I mean, go-karts and mini stocks is, to me, is the best stair-step program that they are.
I'd say they are. Go-karts really teach you a lot about setting a car up because you have so few things to work with a go-kart. Even your body, where you tilt your body makes a big difference in a go-kart. And I guess even in late models, we start trying to help them a little every once in a while. Our boats are tied in there pretty tight. Where are you currently racing at, Michael?
Mostly, the guy that owns my stuff's from Clarksville, so I try to go there as much as I can to support him where he can watch his cars race. If Crossville's open, we try to go, which they're hit or miss. I mean, once a month maybe. So I try to go there just so my family can go watch. Duck River, we travel a lot. I mean, last night was my 37th race.
This year?
This year, yeah.
You have been around a lot then. I know when you race around different places, there's certain tracks, I don't know why they get better to you maybe than other tracks are, but they sometimes become your favorite track. Have you got one of those, a favorite track?
I lost my favorite track, which was Clinton County. But I don't think there's no, like we're talking about another racetrack earlier opening up, like it's not my favorite, but I run good there. So I think anywhere that you run good at is your favorite. Or not necessarily favorite, but you enjoy going to. I don't really dread going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Well, on Saturday at race day, it's like an anxious feeling that you can't wait to get there. The race may not be on start till 8 o'clock, but I want to get there in the middle of the day. It's just wanting to be there, wanting to be at the racetrack, I guess. And it's always like just get myself situated there, feeling at home at the track. It made me feel good just to be there. Quite frankly, it makes me feel good today to be at a racetrack. I hadn't got that out of my system yet either. The Clinton track that you liked, what was it about that track?
I think it goes back to winning races. I think it goes back to, and that place, the best thing about that place is it didn't take motor at all. So we had was that motor flat, that motor?
No, it was a Steelhead.
It was still small for running supers, but it didn't matter.
It was a limited motor, but he won super races with a limited motor.
Was the car weights still the same?
They're the same.
Yeah, they didn't have no brake at all, and he beat them a lot of times.
What does the cars you're running now weigh or have to weigh?
2350.
That's still a fairly light car.
Mm-hmm.
And what engines are you using now?
As far as who the builder is, or?
The age,
So like the Crossville's 362 cubic inch. And then we've got another one that's 421. We run super with it. We're leading the Quicksilver Super Series that Clarksville has. So it's a 421. And then we've got a 604 crate motor also.
is the Clarksville track, is it still running good? Are they running every week or what?
They race every week. They struggle getting cars, and I don't know why, because you're usually out of there by 9:30.
It's been historically a pretty good track too.
It has.
Clarksville has. I mean, it's a well.
It has, and if I had to call somewhere my favorite, that's probably it now. But it goes back to run. We run good there.
Are they having a good crowd turnout there?
The grandstands are okay. Car counts dwindled down, but I think it's just because our economy's starting to feel.
Well, the economy is in a terrible shape right now. I think we all have to recognize that. Every time you stop at the grocery store or gas pump, I recognize it. Well, what's in your future, or where you want to go with your racing, Michael?
I would like to, and I'm 41, so I've had more years than I've got left. You know what I mean? So I really want to do another series. I miss that knowing where you're going to go, where you got a schedule to go off of, and I miss the competition of it. You know, I really enjoy when we done the Bob series, and then Winchester, North Alabama, and Duck River had a little mini series. I enjoy traveling with series, and so whether it's Southern All Stars or Ultimate's got a Heart of America series, we had intentions of doing that this year. It just didn't work out. But I just want to travel with a little regional series.
Have you ever given any thought to paved track racing? I know that this podcast is about dirt track, but they intertwine with each other. A lot of the guys that's done one has done both. Have you ever thought about any paved track racing?
We ran asphalt for 2 or 3 years, and it's not for me. The money's not there, and it's not for me.
I guess the expense of paved track racing is, to me, always was a lot higher than a dirt track. The tire bill is what it stuck with me, is the price of tires. And dirt track tires just, I know the softer compounds may not last all that long, but you're going to eat a set of tires up about every other week on a paved track.
One of the guys that run Nashville weekly told me that you had to buy tires every week to be competitive.
That's your entry fee in Nashville.
And he says $900 a week just for when you go in the gate.
That's, I don't know the price of tickets. Now, I hadn't been to a race this year, so I don't know the price of tickets, but the price of tickets were starting to get to the point too that, and this is nobody's fault, it's really a conglomeration of things. The price of tickets were getting to the point that a guy, he had a couple of kids and a wife, it was costing so much just to go watch a race. And I know I'm involved in the off-road industry, and we have found that by lowering the price, we got a lot more people there, a lot more people can afford to come, and it may be something that, I know it's hard to take a cut from what you were getting, but sometimes you make more money by taking a cut. And it's something that has to be looked at. You have to have a different business model for different economies, and the economy that we've got now truly is a challenge. Where would you like to see racing go? I mean, and I'm talking about the cost of racing, different classes, how a guy trying to get started on the level that you are at right now would cost an enormous amount to just get started.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I do, I could not do without Steven Cindy-Ashby. And I mean, period. There's no way. It's expensive, and they field not only they not only field my stuff, but they also have 4 kids that they field also on top of, and well, 3 now, because Steven's been part. He's got a neck injury, so I actually started driving his limited car And then they got Brian, Levi, and Caleb also that they filled. And Steve Ashby loves racing as much as, I always say he loves it almost as much as my grandpa did, but I mean, that man loves racing a lot and likes hearing his name. The Wheel Shop is their business, and it's in Clarksville off Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. But if he just likes hearing the Wheel Shop, he likes hearing his name over the PA, he likes watching his cars race.
I don't know that you ever get that, I don't know how old you would have to be to get that out of your system, but old Cat Style, he's still got it in his system real bad, and Cat's a little bit older than me, but I'll keep that to myself, how old me and Cat both are, but it's still in his system. I think the world of him too, like talking old Cat, but I think it's good for us that we like that. That's good for him. It keeps you.
Keeps them young. It keeps us young.
Yeah, you get it, something to get up for every day, and something to relate to. And I think being involved with racing, you want to. It's natural to want to make things better because it's what racing is all about. Making next week better than last week.
And make your car run a little faster and handle a little better every week.
It was good enough last week, but not good enough this week, and I think that's the outlook that you basically have on life. Racing teaches you a lot about life.
And too, Michael was a second generation driver, and that's a blessing and a curse sometimes. You know, it's good in ways, but in ways it's harder for them guys. I mean, Gary and his dad raced together, you know, and it's just a whole different, it's a whole different atmosphere, really.
Well, what you really have to do, and it is hard to do, I've never been in that, so my dad didn't race, I was the only one that did, but you have to remember that you're your own man. You're not your dad, you're not your granddad, you're yourself. And dad and granddad had different situations than you've got today, and you've got to always remember that. And Dale Jr. would do that. Dale Jr. was a brilliant driver, and he didn't have the success of his dad, but it was a different situation at a different time. Kyle Petty, he never had the success that Richard did, but again, it was a different situation at a different time. So you've just got to be your own man, which I think you're doing a good job. Michael's doing a good job of being his own man. And it's opportunities are different at different times too.
And setting the car up is different. Two different people, there's two different ways to keep a car, set a car up.
Yeah, if I get his cars, that's the biggest piece of junk I ever drove in my life. He said the same thing about mine.
Yeah, I've been there.
Hey, it's what works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. It's just I'll say, Michael, remember you're Michael, and Michael's doing well, and probably nobody can do any better if he was in Michael's skin. So you don't you ever forget that, because you are good at what you do.
We struggle sometimes.
I tell you what, he made a perfect lap qualifying last night. I was so proud. He couldn't have done no better.
Hey, he is good. I know about him. I hear about him. I'm proud of him, and he's going to even be better. We have a few down laps and things. We go through phases. Racing is actually going through a rough phase, and I think mostly due to the economy. I've got to always mention Golden Mountain. Hopefully we'll get open here before long. And I know they're going to try some different things to see what works, and they want to try to make it economical enough for a normal guy to bring his family and have a good weekend. I know their off-road parts really working good, so hopefully
That'd be great to be that close to home.
Yeah.
11 miles.
Yeah.
I hope the best for him.
It's a lot easier to run close to home.
I tell you though, they got a good shot at making it because there's so many races. Well, 411 in Seymour, Tennessee sold this last week. It's shut down. There's so many dirt tracks shutting down. Winchester's gone. Matt Mimble's gone. Sparta, Buffalo Valley, Baxter.
Well, the Winters family that owns Golden Mountain, I'll say this for them, I hadn't known them all that long, but I've done a lot of business with them now. They're a group of people that really want the track to be open and wants it to work, and you've got to have that. If you're just going to open it up hoping to make a big pile of money all at once, it's probably not gonna work.
And I think they'll be fair too.
They will, and they're in it for the long haul, and they're good listeners. I know that from the off-road sector of it. They're good listeners of.
You guys had a
what you think.
record turnout, didn't you, Randall?
Yes, we did. We did. Probably the biggest event that was ever held up there just a couple, 3 weeks ago. It worked out good for everybody. Well, Michael, tell me again what you see in your future of racing and what you're gonna try to do with it.
I mean, right now, we're focused on winning that Quicksilver Super Series that Clarksville has, and for this year.
Can you tell us just real quickly a little bit about that series, how it works?
It's Quicksilver sponsors William Scoggins, who owns Clarksville's racetrack, so he does. I think there's 15 on schedule this year. It's only at Clarksville. They tried to do it at a couple other racetracks, and I actually talked to Ricky and Deke about maybe doing one here before October, and it's just getting them rolling. It's probably not going to work out this year, but it's just a little mini Super Series that they do at Clarksville, and I think I'm leading by 6 points. So it's 3 races to go. We're leading by 6, so we gotta buckle down and try to focus on winning it, and then we'll do some still-headed racing and some crate racing from now until the end of the year, and probably not do the dome this year. We did it last year, and I spent as much money doing it as I would 2 months racing here. So
There are some things you want to do really bad, and when you have to look at what it's going to cost me to do it, sometimes you can win and still lose. So you have to.
that deal's tough. That deal, the dome's tough. It really matters on what night you're on. It's, to be honest with you, that computer, when you go draw that laptop that they say when to stop, that dictates your whole weekend when it sticks you in Thursday night or Friday night. When you go out early, late, there's a lot to that deal. It's fun to watch, but it's not so much fun to do.
Well, all right. Well, Mike Loveland and Michael and Muriel Lawrence, I'm having a good time with all of us here today. I hope y'all had as much fun as I have. And thank you, Michael, and good luck to you. And you and I have got another session on your car and stuff. We're going to do at a later date. And with that being said, we'll conclude this episode of Southern Dirt Motorsports. Want to remind you again, though, if you've got an anniversary, birthday, or wedding, any kind of gathering you've got to want to do, call them up and talk to them. You'd be surprised what a good party, what a memorable event you could have at the Northfield Vineyard. So with that being said, have a good day. Watch us, subscribe to us, and that's what keeps us alive. Thank you very much for watching.